So the common denominator is going to be PQ, and I multiply this by Q. In order to get the common denominator, I must do the same with the top. So I get 6Q plus I multiply by P, and I multiply by P. So I get 2P on top. Now, what I'm looking for here is the smallest quantity which can divide by a 5 and by an x squared. So 5x squared is the lowest common denominator. I multiply by x to get that common denominator. I must multiply by x here. So it's 6x on top, minus I multiply this one by 5 and this one by 5 as well. So I get 10 on top. Common denominator is going to be x minus 2, x plus 1. Now, when I multiply this by x plus 1, I must multiply the 3 by x plus 1 as well. I multiply this by x minus 2, so I must multiply the top by x minus 2. Expand the brackets, 3x plus 3 minus x plus 2 over x minus 2, x plus 1. So it's 2x plus 5 over x minus 2, x plus 1. Calculating the gradient, MAB, M is the letter we use to denote the gradient. The formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. For those of you who are a bit uncertain, we could let this be x1, y1, and this would be x2, y2. So 4 take away 1 over 6 take away 2. That gives us 3 on top and 4 on the bottom. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. I'm just going to let this one be x1, y1 and this one be x2, y2. It doesn't matter. So the gradient formula we've already got. I'm not going to write it down again. So y2 is 8, take away 4 over minus 2, take away 6. 8 take away 4 is 4 over minus 8, and that's minus 1/2. Question 21, volume. We've got a volume of a cone. 1/3 pi r squared h. We know that the radius, well I don't know whether we do know, the diameter is 6, so this distance here, the radius of the base is 3 times 3 squared, and the height of the cone is 8. So we get 75.398. Volume of the cylinder, it's a formula that's not given to you. That's going to be 3 squared, and the height of the cylinder is 10, so that's 90 pi. And what we have is a hemisphere at the bottom. Now the formula for the sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. The diameter is 6, so the radius is 3, just as it was for the cylinder and the cone. That's 3. So we've got 4 over 3 pi times 3 cubed. What we have to do with this last one is of course divide by 2 because it's a hemisphere. So we get 56.549. And all we have to do now is add all the volumes together. So volume 1, volume 2 and volume 3, and that gives us a volume total of 414.69 centimeters cubed. 5 over root 10. We want to express with our rational denominator, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by root 10. We want to get rid of the root 10 that's on the bottom, and the best way to do that is to multiply the root 10 by itself, but we've got to multiply top and bottom by root 10. In so doing, we do not change the overall value of the term. So we have 5 root 10 on top. The root of 10 times root 10 is root 100. And 5 times root 10 on top. Square root of 100 is 10. Now we should cancel down. We want to simplify this, so we have 5 goes into itself once and into 10 twice. So we've got root 10 on top and 2 on the bottom. Standard deviation. First thing we're going to do is to calculate the mean, which is x bar. So we add these all up together. We're going to divide by 5 because there are 5 numbers. And that gives us the value 420. And the mean then is 84. Part B. So I'm going to use, I know that some of you use a different formula. This is the one that I use. So 84, 74, 90, 76 and 96. We subtract x bar, which is the mean, the value 84 from each of these. So 84 take away 84 is 0. 74 take away 84 is negative 10. 90 take away 84 is 6. 76 take away 84 is negative 8. And 96 take away 84 is 12. We want to square each of these values. 0 squared is 0, minus 10 squared is 100. Remember, when you square a negative, you must get a positive. 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 64, 12 squared is 144. That gives us the total here of 344. Standard deviation, sigma x minus x bar all squared divided by n minus 1. Take the square root of that. Now, this here is sigma x minus x bar all squared, and n equals 5. We have 5 numbers in our calculation. So 344 over 5 take away 1. Don't forget to square root. 344 divided by 4, it's 86 square rooted. And we get 9.27. Now, we're asked to give the answer correct to one decimal place, so that is of course 9.3 pence. So we've got two sets of data now, one for Inverness, one for Stirling. What we would say is that on average, it's a good way of starting out, on average, a loaf of bread costs less in Stirling, and that's because 80 pence is less than 84 pence. We can now comment on the standard deviations. The variation in prices is less in Stirling. Since 7.2 pence is less than 9.3 pence. 2 marks. Question 24. I've added the data. First thing I want to do is add a line in this position inside the triangle. Now this here is 65 degrees and that makes a Z angle with this, so that must be 65 degrees as well. We know that this part of the angle is 165, so to complete 180 we would add on 15 degrees. So I hope you can see that the angle inside the triangle is 80 degrees. Now, we've got an angle between two sides, that's the cosine rule. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. So it's 85 squared plus 75 squared minus 2 times 85 times 75 times the cos of 80 degrees. And I'm going to put that straight into the calculator. And we get A equals 103.13 kilometres. The next thing I want to do is to work out this angle here. There's a reason for that. So, part B. Now we've got a side angle pairing, hope you can see that. We've got the 80 degrees and we've just calculated the length of the opposite side. So we can use the sine rule, A over sine A equals B over sine B. So 85 over sine, let's call it sine C, equals 103.1 over sine of 80 degrees. Cross multiply, so 103 sine C equals 85 sine 80, and then sine C equals 85 sine 80 divided by 103.1. We have to shift sine to get the answer. Remember, we're trying to find the angle. It gives us 54.3 degrees. Now, let's look at the diagram. What we really want to do, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We know that this angle here is 15 degrees, so this angle here is also 15 degrees because it's a Z angle. That means we've got the total here. We can work out, we just worked out the green angle is 54.3. We know the smaller angle is 15, so what I'm going to do to work out the bearing. Now the bearing of A from C is this angle here. So it's 360. Take away 54.3 plus 15. And that gives us 290.7 degrees. 291 degrees.